The Canadian government has rightly retaliated and is rightly retaliating with our own tariffs that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada. And my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect.
Imagine a world where Canada stands up to the United States, refusing to be bullied into submission. That's exactly what's happening right now. Mark Carney, the former Bank of Canada governor, has just won the Liberal Party leadership race with a staggering 86% of the vote, and he's wasting no time making his position clear. My government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect. The message to Trump? No more economic intimidation, no more unfair deals, no more treating Canada like America's backyard. Carney's fiery speech also accused the US president of trying to strip Canada of its sovereignty, warning, "They want our resources, our water, our land, our country. If they succeeded, they would destroy our way of life." And to Trump's repeated claim that Canada should become America's 51st state, Carney's answer was definitive, ruthless, and final. America is not Canada, and Canada never will be part of America in any way, shape, or form. With Carney preparing to take office, the stakes have never been higher. Will this economic war push Canada into new alliances, or will tensions spiral even further out of control? Let's find out. The economic battle between Canada and the United States did not begin overnight. It has been brewing for years, fueled by Donald Trump's aggressive trade policies and his belief that Canada has taken advantage of the United States in trade deals. The breaking point came when Trump slapped 25% tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, igniting a trade war that is still escalating. For decades, the United States and Canada have had a relatively stable trade relationship, benefiting from free trade agreements like NAFTA and its successor, USMCA. However, Trump's America First agenda changed the game. He has frequently accused Canada of undermining US industries, particularly in steel, aluminum, dairy, and lumber. His administration believes that Canada's economic policies give unfair advantages to its industries, and Trump has vowed to force Ottawa into submission through tariffs and economic pressure. The conflict escalated in March 2025, when the Trump administration reintroduced a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum despite previous negotiations aimed at avoiding such trade disruptions. Canada immediately retaliated with its own 25% tariffs on 30 billion Canadian dollars worth of American imports, including consumer goods like orange juice, coffee, and fruit. This was a clear message to Washington. Canada would not be bullied into compliance. But the biggest escalation is yet to come. Carney's government is considering expanding tariffs to cover an additional 125 billion Canadian dollars in US goods, a move that would directly target American automotive exports, steel, and agricultural products. If these tariffs are implemented, the economic damage to both nations could be severe. The biggest question now is what happens next. Will Trump continue to escalate tariffs and risk an economic downturn? Or will Carney's firm stance force Washington to reconsider its aggressive policies? The answer is unclear. For now, both sides are standing their ground. But what is Carney going to do? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Africa's geopolitics, economy, and changing landscape. Let's continue now. Mark Carney is not just reacting to Trump's tariffs. He is fundamentally reshaping Canada's economic future to ensure that the country is no longer vulnerable to US trade aggression. His vision is a Canada that stands on its own, where American policies no longer dictate the fate of Canadian industries. For decades, the United States has been Canada's largest trading partner, controlling over 75% of its export market. This dependency has given Washington significant economic leverage, allowing Trump to impose crippling tariffs on steel, aluminum, lumber, and dairy without hesitation. Carney believes it is time for Canada to break this cycle and forge its path. His approach is twofold: retaliating against US economic pressure with tariffs and policy shifts, while simultaneously building a stronger domestic economy that does not rely on American imports and trade agreements. This is not just a short-term response to Trump's trade war. It is a long-term strategy to redefine Canada's role in the global economy. Carney's first order of business is to strengthen Canada's trade ties beyond the United States. He has initiated discussions with key economic partners in Europe, Asia, and Latin America to ensure that Canada has alternative markets for its goods. With the European Union, he is working to fully enforce the Canada-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement (CETA), ensuring that Canada's access to European markets is maximized. Additionally, his government is accelerating trade negotiations with China, India, and Japan, recognizing that Asia represents the future of global economic growth. Unlike the United States, these nations do not use tariffs and economic threats as a political weapon, making them more stable trade partners for Canada's future. Beyond trade, Carney is laser-focused on strengthening Canada's domestic industries to ensure that the country can sustain itself without relying on American imports. His government is preparing to launch a massive industrial expansion effort, focusing on steel, aluminum, technology, automotive manufacturing, and energy production. By increasing government support for local manufacturers and reducing import dependency, Carney aims to shield Canada from any future U.S. trade disruptions. His policies will incentivize Canadian businesses to source materials and components domestically instead of relying on American suppliers who are vulnerable to Trump's economic aggression. But Carney's most ambitious goal is to restructure Canada's economic policies to prevent foreign influence. He's pushing for tighter regulations on foreign ownership of key industries, particularly in natural resources and energy, to prevent U.S.-based corporations from gaining control over Canada's most valuable assets. Additionally, his administration is introducing tax incentives for companies that reduce reliance on American supply chains. Canada's reliance on U.S. financial markets has also been identified as a major vulnerability, and Carney is considering expanding trade using other currencies such as the euro or yuan to limit exposure to U.S. financial policies. Carney's plan is not just about fighting Trump, it is about securing Canada's future. He has made it clear that his administration will not be at the mercy of American policies. Canada will no longer play by Washington's rules. His leadership marks a turning point in Canadian economic history, where the country will no longer be a dependent junior partner in North America, but an independent global economic force. Mark Carney's battle with Trump is not just about tariffs, it's about sovereignty. The trade war is one front, but the deeper issue is Trump's blatant disrespect for Canada's independence. Trump has casually floated the idea that Canada could or should become America's 51st state. Whether in speeches or social media posts, he has repeatedly suggested that Canada's resources, economy, and population would be better off under U.S. control. To Carney, this was not just insulting, it was dangerous. In his first speech as Canada's new Prime Minister, Carney made it clear that this idea would never happen. America is not Canada. Canada will never be part of America in any way, shape, or form. The message was not subtle. It was a direct rejection of U.S. dominance, a warning that Washington should stop treating Canada like an extension of American territory. But Carney didn't stop there. He accused Trump of actively seeking to take over Canada, not by force, but by economic manipulation. Carney's defiance was about more than Trump's words. It was about decades of American economic and political pressure. The U.S. has always been Canada's largest trade partner, but that partnership has often come at a cost. U.S. corporations control large parts of Canada's natural resources, from oil to minerals. Washington has consistently interfered in Canadian policy decisions, from defense spending to foreign alliances, and American businesses dominate key sectors in Canada, from finance to technology. For years, the U.S. has acted as if Canada owes its allegiance to Washington, treating its northern neighbor as an economic dependency rather than an equal nation. Carney is done with that. Carney believes that Trump's trade war and economic aggression are part of a larger strategy to weaken Canada's autonomy. These are dark days brought on by a country we can no longer trust, he says. Now the question is, where is this trade war headed? While Trump presents his trade war as a victory for America, the U.S. economy is showing clear signs of strain. His administration has imposed new 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico, only to exempt some goods just 2 days later, creating uncertainty for businesses and investors. Meanwhile, China has retaliated with its tariffs on U.S. agricultural products, hitting American farmers with new taxes on chicken, beef, pork, wheat, and soybeans. Despite these growing concerns, Trump refuses to acknowledge any economic risks, insisting that the U.S. is merely in a period of transition. However, Wall Street is feeling the pressure, with stocks falling due to uncertainty over trade policies. Investors fear rising prices and slowed growth, while critics warn that Trump's aggressive tactics could lead to a recession. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has dismissed recession fears, stating that while foreign goods may get more expensive, American goods will become cheaper. However, many economists disagree, arguing that tariffs remain an extra burden on the U.S. economy that could backfire in the long run. The global response to Trump's trade war is becoming increasingly hostile, with major economies pushing back against U.S. economic aggression. As Canada, China, and other nations implement countermeasures, the question remains: how long can Trump keep up this economic fight before it damages America's industries beyond repair? Let us know in the comments section. Will other nations bow down to the U.S. this time? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: African politics, economy, and increasing power. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
Tell us what you think in the comment section. Like and share the video, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our African videos. It's the best way to support us.